All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all the glory and honor to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak. Double honors unto my apostles and others, a great millstone. Peace and safety to all the Sisiakim, this I preaching this word in truth and in all sincerity. Shalom. All right. And, excuse me, I'm going to do this very quick lesson. I'm a little under the weather. But, hey, in season, out of season, I just got finished watching a video from CBS News going into what is that? I'm gonna say LA County. The police chief statement: "We cannot guarantee your safety." LAPD says a purge is going on in LA and advises travelers not to come. And that's several ways to take that. There's the one way of, Esau is manipulating this, and, he wants order out of chaos, agent provocateurs, and so on and so forth, which there's a part of it, I wouldn't say there's two ways, there's two elements, two layers to this. And then the other layer is that, hey man, bad people do bad things. We live in a very disturbed and violent time, and people are thrashing out, however you want to word it, attacking the system, as the scriptures say. Okay, but the point of it all is that things are getting bad. And that's not just LA County or LA. That's everywhere. That's all these major cities. That's LA, Atlanta, New York. I just got finished watching a video this morning too, as well, in New York, which LA and New York are like, brother and sister or siblings in the midst of all of this, on two opposite coasts, and videos of people running into, shootouts and stuff. Crime is skyrocketing everywhere, Matter of fact, let's get a scripture on that. Bear me 1 second. Bear me 1 second. Bear me 1 second. I'm looking for a precept. I believe it's Ezekiel. Let me just go here real quick. Yeah, this is Ezekiel 25. And I'm going to start at 12. And it says, "And thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, because that Edom have dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance and have greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, I will stretch out my hand upon Edom and will cut off the man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord." So like I say, there is an element where order out of chaos, where this devil is stirring this up, doing this, but at the same time, see, where Esau think he could control the narrative, control both sides. He wants to control his story and the opposition side, which we are his opposition. And that's so, a true chess match is not you against yourself. And I'm talking about an actual chess game. If you play chess, that's not chess. That's just you playing the game, practicing, whatever, A true game is you against another thought process. But this devil wants to control our thought process, our moves, and so on and so forth. And the Lord has you in a trick bag. So a lot of this violence that you're seeing isn't all controlled violence, okay? And one sooner or later, it's going to outburst and there's going to be no controlling it, okay? Because the Lord's going to pour out his anger specifically on you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, but you other nations as well, all right? All chaos and confusion is coming here, all right? These were once beautiful towns and cities and communities, where you could walk around and be safe and leave your car unlocked and, things of that nature, you know. Hell, I grew up, I'm not going to act like I grew up, in my younger years, when I was like my children's age, I can't say that I grew up in a bad neighborhood, but even then it wasn't a great neighborhood. But I still remember a time where like, you know what I'm saying? Like my mother could cut the car on outside during the fall and winter and warm the car up, defrost the windows and shit, Now you leave your car running and you ain't in it, somebody gonna take it, even if it's just for the sake of taking it, man. It's terrible out here. So violence, all right, is what's being executed out here, because this is all that this devil has pushed on this earth is violence, okay? But let's go from there, hit like two more scriptures. Let's go to Jeremiah 30. All right. And 7, we're going straight to the point. And it says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And see, when you see what's going on right now in the world, specifically in these cities, if you really want to be technical, these cities have always had a form of violence and crime. It's not necessarily. We gotta exaggerate that. That's just the truth. I beg to differ that some men would even say that it was worse in the time in like the late 80s, the 90s, like how New York was in the 70s, 80s, 90s. You can't compare 2021, 2022 New York to the 1990 New York or 1980 New York. You can't. Same thing with Atlanta. Same thing with Miami. Same thing with LA. Same thing with Chicago. But is it violent today? Absolutely. But here's the kicker. The scriptures just told us it's going to be like a time never. So what you're seeing is the pot boiling over. But it ain't boiled all the way over yet. It's boiling, but it ain't boiled all the way over yet. Excuse me. All right. This violence is going to get more meaningless. It's going to get more frequent. All right. It's going to get more in your face. Okay. See, they're trying to stir you up with this purge, See, a lot of Jake don't have a heart to do what Esau's pushing him to do. That's why, again, part of it is he has to manipulate this a little bit. But nevertheless, when these people get turned on to the fact that there is no 911, when they realize that there's less police, less of that, you're going to start seeing these people going to start taking it further, man. That's why you're seeing these as they call them, crime mobs, and they're running into these stores 100 deep, stealing Louis bags and Montclair jackets and Nikes and shit like that. That's going to continue because, see, when people get bolder, they do it more, and they do it. Hey, if you watched what's that show? Kanan, on Stars, 50 Cent, right? His cousin on the show, they touched on how in the early 90s, if you're familiar with this history, you had the Lowlives, which was a New York City gang, and they was known for robbing, because they like Polo. They would rob these trucks and these shipments, and man, they used to run into Macy's and 34th and 7th, and steal like shit ton of Polo and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what that gang was about. So that's, like I say, that flash mob spirit ain't nothing new. But what happens is now you're going to start giving it life again. You're giving it life again with, we can run in here 10 deep, split it up, boom, we make a quick little flip, we got it. That spirit is starting to come back. That 80s, like how Esau tried to sweep all the dirt of these cities and behind walls and under the rug and so on and so forth, man. All that shit is bled out, man. All right, let's get a few more scriptures and I'm going to close up here. Bear me 1 second. Bear me 1 second looking for a precept. Let me just search it. I always do this. Let me try to finish this. 2 Ezra 15 and 17, right? Or I can start it actually. I can go up a little bit. I'm going to close up here. This is 2 Ezra 15 and 15. And it says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and evading one another. And that's what's happening, you know. These mobs of people are nothing more than modern. They're pirates. They're land pirates. You know, they're invading these stores and these malls and these jewelry stores, and they're robbing these places. You know, but I one thing that I find interesting though, which kind of makes me want to believe a lot of it is what's the word? I'm sorry, like I said, I'm under the weather, so my thoughts is kind of cloudy. The one thing that says a lot is why I say it may be these are created situations. All right, because again, don't believe all the shit you see on the TV as well. You got to really look through it and see, does it make sense? Is that how Jake really out here is moving? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand this. All of this shit is, Esau is the devil, man. All right, now to finish my point is you don't see banks getting hit. All right, Jake is running into these malls and these areas, and they hitting things like that. But you know, Jake's not hitting cash checking places and banks. Now that's gonna come. Trees, please believe that's gonna come. But right now, it's these mobs, and they're invading these storefronts. All right, breaking in. All right, hell, if you got a ring, I always talk about this, and I may do a lesson on this. If you have a ring light, you get notifications in your whole region of all the crimes and shit that's happening, and people, oh my God, I heard gunshots. Oh my God, did somebody try to break in my car? Oh my God, somebody broke, you know, you just see, you be like, God damn, you know? All right, let me finish this off. And it says, and they shall not regard their king nor princes. Now, let me show you this, how this is happening. Just this past week here in Atlanta, right? You had a runoff between the mayors. It was a black woman and a black man. And the black woman was running, and there was a campaign basically had that she was going to shut down all the strip clubs and so on and so forth here in the city of Atlanta. You know, all the strip clubs are going to get shut down. All the studios, you're going to have a specific license to run a studio and so on and so forth. So it went from a runoff where they couldn't decide who to be mayor to when they did the runoff the other day, she got her ass whooped in that election because the whole city came out to vote against that bullshit, just to show you how these people are dictating the wickedness. They don't want, what the fuck do you mean? I was like, that's to show you how wicked this place is. That you had probably strippers leaving work, going to vote, dope boys, trap boys, you know what I'm saying, rappers, you know, all these niggas, these night crawlers, basically determined who was going to run the city for the next few years. Think about that. From an election standpoint, all right? So they're not regarding what the kings and the princes are trying to bring about, you know, establishing different things and cleaning up the city, you know? And it says, in the courses of their actions shall stand in their power. These people really, like I said, they went from being a runoff to people couldn't decide who the mayor was to now, oh, hell no, we got to put Andre in, okay? Now it says, and a man... This is the point. A man shall desire to go into a city and not be able to, okay? You may need to go into these cities sooner or later and not be able to, whether it be through the, you know, the V passport, whether it be through crime, whether it be through weather. These things, this traveling facade is being shut down. All right. Sooner than soon, you're not just going to be able to just go into New York City all willy-nilly. All right. You're not just going to be able to go into LA all freely. You know what I'm saying? Go to Chicago. All right. Come here to Atlanta. You know, it's going to be either you from here or you not, man. Because you got to remember, and I'm going to close up here. I don't want to ramble too long. But understand, matter of fact, this will give me the ability to ramble. Just joking, but let me get this scripture. Hold on. I be tripping. Is that Isaiah? Excuse me. Yep. This is Isaiah 51:14, and it says, "The captive exile hastily, that he may be loosened, and that he shall not die in the pit, nor that his bread shall fail." And a lot of, these other camps like to use this to speak on who fills up the prisons. Well, this is speaking to all of us, because America is just one big prison house. We're already in prison. Now, the reason for me saying that is, and if you've watched my channel for an extended period of time and I speak on this subject matter, I wouldn't say study, but I've spent some time watching, a lot of things dealing with prison culture. And one thing that they speak on when you watch anything, if you get locked up and you're thrown into a prison, let's just say you in the feds, all right? If you go through the feds, if I was to go through the feds, they're going to ask me where I'm from, right? And by guilty by association, I'm kind of already linked in with other niggas that's in the prison system that's from Georgia. And then it might break down to, all right, you from Georgia? Where you from? I'm from Atlanta, from Augusta, from Savannah, from Macon, from Columbus, wherever. And that's how it breaks down every state and every region, all right? Are you from New York? Or what part of New York? Brooklyn. Or in New York, how's the prisons? Listen to how niggas talk about Rikers, all right? And these different prison systems. You have a Brooklyn house. You have a Queens house, all right? You you get where I'm going with this? It's the same nature out here in the so-called unfree world, all right? It's gonna be broken down, and you gonna be. Listen, man. If your license says Georgia, you from Georgia, and you ain't going nowhere else. And if you ain't from here, you ain't coming here. All right, because that's prison. It's just real life prison shit. All right. Whether you behind that wall or out here, it's prison. This is a big prison. So the Esau gonna break this shit down to you're gonna be stuck to your region. All right, and if you think I'm talking out of my ass, look up the 12 FEMA camps. There's 12 camps. The same energy that was pushed out with Hunger Games, the 12 houses, all right, or whatever they would call factions. I don't know. You get what I'm trying to say. But the 12th point of it is that the FEMA camp is broken up into 12 units. You're not just gonna be able to go to Unit 3 if you ain't from there. You ain't gonna be able to leave it. Understand that. So with that, I just want to close this up. I want to give all the glory and honor to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Kakodash, and until next time, shalom.